Hey everyone, welcome to the Slam podcast. My name is Jeff Sherrod. We are joined today with Summit Christian Academy, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah. Really, and we've been having a great week so far, doing a lot of service projects. How many kids did you guys bring, Joe? What
We
was
have
the exact-
64 students, and I have 9 other chaperones.
Yeah, so this is our biggest single group, at least for us this summer. We've had bigger weeks, but we haven't had a bigger single group here. And you guys have killed it this week so far. So I've heard, great testimonies from people that had service projects. We kind of go back and call how'd the groups do? They're like, even today, I think I was telling someone else, I was telling you guys this morning at the bridge, they're like, is there any way that the bridge, they hand out food and do food services, but they're like, is there any way that the group that came yesterday can come again today? Because they loved you guys yesterday. So yeah, you guys have done wonderful work. So Joe, I'm gonna kind of kick it off with you, and I'd love to hear some of your background, what got you into Christian education, and even bringing groups like this down here. What's some of the background there?
Absolutely. So God allowed me to open the door and get into education, and I spent 20 years in public school. And then 8 years ago, the call from God was really strong to say, okay, it's time to get into Christian education, because education is far more than just teaching a curriculum that says God's irrelevant to life.
Right.
Really understanding that God is the center of everything and that everything comes from Him. So was blessed to be able to go to Summit Christian Academy. That is a school that's in the suburbs of Kansas City, Missouri. It's in Lee Summit.
Okay.
It's been in existence since 1989, started with 32 students. This year, we're going to have about 1,225 students, pre-K through 12th grade.
Yeah.
And it's such a blessing, because one of the things I tell the students and I tell our parents, that the single greatest and most important thing to me is their walk with Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
And when that walk is right, then all the other things that we can focus in on, great academics and great athletics and everything else, because God's on the throne and where He's supposed to be.
Yeah.
And so when that's important, that takes center stage. God's on the throne. Everything else we can work at it, because Colossians 3:23, whatever we're going to do, we're going to work at it with all of our heart as we're working for the Lord.
That's awesome.
And so that's kind of the what got me at SCA. Yeah. And as the opportunity was, we were looking around, our Board of Education actually has created a board policy that says that the senior class is to go on a mission trip. And the mission trip is actually supposed to be spiritually challenging. And it is to help them grow closer to God and each other through service to others. And so that's the board policy.
What a cool bylaw to put in there.
Absolutely. Yeah. And so we, when we were looking around, had an opportunity to do some searching, because we've been kind of all over the nation doing these over the past years. And this year, got a hold of Kevin and started doing some research and found out about SLAM. And we can talk about what a name. Students Living a Mission.
Yeah.
Right? Just that. So from a school in Kansas City and Lee Summit, Missouri, being able to hear that name, and it's kind of like, that's exactly what we want, is our students living a mission for God.
Yeah.
And so having that, so we actually have 64 of our students out of the graduating class of 68 this coming year.
So
cool. Largest group that's come down with us so far. And they're, I'm excited to see them and what I've already seen in them, through them, what God's doing in their hearts, but also what they're doing with together.
Yeah.
And hopefully, as you said, word of mouth. Word of mouth is great only if it's a word of mouth about Matthew 5 and letting their light shine before men, so they can see their good deeds.
Yeah. So how many trips like this have you led so far?
So this will be my 8th trip.
Okay. Yeah. So you've done quite a few of these. Yeah.
Everyone
has a different feeling and personality. And
every group is a little bit different. That's the thing. It's not about comparing trips to trips.
Yeah.
Because the students are different and what God's doing in their hearts are different, and the locations that we go is different. The thing that doesn't change is amazing staff, amazing teachers that are giving up a week of their time, and their family to be here for a week for our seniors. But then seeing the seniors who, again, we purposely put them with people that they don't normally talk to and hang out with during the school year, and we put them together and say, all right, now you're not only going to serve, but you're going to eat meals together. You're going to do Bible study together. You're going to do things that you would not normally do.
Right.
And let's see what great things God does. And the other great thing that helps is we remove the cell phone.
Yeah. And so I'm interested in talking about this, even with you guys, because I'm curious how that works out. So I'm going to switch to Aisha. First of all, tell us a little bit about you, where you're coming from, a little family background. Give us some context here.
Yeah. I just kind of new to just the Missouri in general. So this is and because I lived in Kansas most of my life, which
Okay.
isn't really much difference, but it's just been good. It's just me and my mom and my dad and my little sister. So it's just a little small family. We do live in Kansas City, not exactly Lee Summit, so that's
Yeah.
pretty cool. I've
You're the oldest then?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
am the oldest. I've been to at least 7 different schools.
Okay. Wow.
So moving only from 2 places.
Is it just because your parents travel a lot?
Yeah, more like just work opportunities and stuff like that. But like, yeah.
So you're like a pro at making new friends and doing the whole thing?
A little bit.
Yeah. How does it feel like of all those schools, like, SCA is kind of like the final one that you're going to do for your
yeah,
like a good stopping spot?
Yeah, most definitely. I definitely think out of all the schools I've been to, Summit Christian is the best.
That's wonderful. That's cool testimony.
I don't know, my relationships, like I've never really got to connect as much with my other schools and just friends in general, and then just educational wise, like they've helped me so much because like when I was younger, I went to public school. Like I started out in public school, and so I was definitely behind just in that, and like they didn't really help me. So then, just gradually going to like different schools, but then coming here and then wanting to help me full on, and now like I'm almost like ahead now, or just like,
how cool is that?
Yeah, I know, and it's really nice because
that's awesome.
I've been struggling all my life, just trying to, I don't know, get to that point to where I feel like I know what I'm doing and just like educational wise. So yeah,
that's awesome. I love that testimony.
Yeah.
So far, let's talk about this trip. How's it been so far?
It's been really good. It was definitely an eye opener on the first day because we went to like elderly people's apartments.
Yeah,
and just learning.
Now, are you guys in the same group?
No.
Different groups. Okay.
Yeah, different groups, but we are at the same place on the first day.
Yeah.
And just like going to see their conditions, which weren't as pleasant as I thought it would be, and just like realizing that we do live in a very sinful world because, and just, I don't know, seeing the people and how lonely they were and just them never getting out. Like the first guy we went to, like he lived there for 11 years plus. Like he didn't really I don't think he knew like how long, but because he's been in there so long, but like it was just so sad. And like he didn't have like any family that came to visit him or anything like that. So then that was just like really sad. But like we kind of opened up to him with my group and things like that. And I don't know, it kind of just made his day, and just cleaning his house too. So he seemed happy, which was
I'm sure. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
And then the next day we did painted, or actually stained fences for like a trailer park. So they kind of are in a not so good like part of area of the city, and just like the owner, like she was just talking to us about like how a lot of them are immigrants and just like they don't know how to live in America, so like they have struggles with just like having to live in general, and like even their cars, like they leave their cars unlocked, so like they have like meetings like every month just to like teach them how to do stuff like that. And like the fence that we were staining, like they were just trying to keep them safe and making sure that like they know that they're welcome, and if they have any problems then they can just go to like the people that work there and stuff. And I was like, that's really cool because I don't really see that much like in a trailer park, like them caring so much about each other and just like how this community has bonded and
I mean, they're a community.
Just wanting to be like closer together and learn from each other. So
I love really that. Cool. Well, yeah, I know you guys do your snaps. That's how I feel right now. I want to snap for that. That was awesome. What a great like testimony, things that you guys have learned. Let's hear about what about like Joe's super intentional with how you guys do things, the friendships and the groups. Let's talk about like the cell phone thing though, because I am interested in that. How has that been? Has it been relieving to like not feel like you're looking at your phone at all, or are you kind of like missing something? I'm curious.
For me, no, because I don't know, I'm not really connected to my phone, and it's mainly just because of my parents, which I'm actually quite glad, just because
Thanks,
yeah even though they probably didn't know that and I complain all the time, but
you heard it here.
It's really nice just to not have that in front of me, because especially this summer, like I've been on it so much and just not really, I mean, connecting to God, honestly. Like I've been just like making excuses and just trying to do everything else except trying to focus on God. So like now that like I'm here and like it's away and it's not like something I can, I I don't know, just go to when I'm bored or something, and just like coming here and just like helping other people, like it's really nice and relieving to just.
Have you found that even like conversations with friends have been easier just because you're like don't
most
have that as an
definitely.
option?
Because like I don't know, I just like text my friends like if I wanted to, but like now we see each other every day and we're face to face,
Right.
and just like it's nice to see them and just like I don't know, see their face and their expressions and things like that.
Yeah, that's real. I have a friend, and this is like when Facebook was huge. You know, it's still huge, but like not you guys don't use it. But he always called it Facebook face. He was like, you know, you meet kids and they're like, they don't know how to respond, like with their face to how they feel because they're just like used to emojis all the time.
Yeah.
So we got a light here doing something. I don't know what's happening. So it gives us kind of but I love that. So you know, thanks for sharing, Hunter. Let's hear a little about what you're doing and what's going on.
Well, I'm the youngest of a family of 5. I have an older brother, and the oldest of my siblings is a sister. I think she's 21 or 22. It's horrible that I don't know. Pretty sure
You're pretty close.
I think she's 22.
Ariana,
Sorry.
don't hold that against him.
I know. I'm sorry. But yeah, I live with my mom and dad, as well as with my grandparents, right outside of Lee Summit, Missouri, in Greenwood. We have a little 10-acre farm there with sheep and goats,
cool.
and animals. So
do you like work the whole thing and do it?
yeah. So me and my brother, when he's in the States, him and I, we work there, and kind of just help around.
Now, what is he doing when he's not in the States?
So he works with a I don't want to call it a program.
Something?
Yeah.
Okay.
He works, but it's called Youth with a Mission. It's YWAM.
Oh, yeah, YWAM.
And so he just got back from his 5-month DTS, which is Discipleship Training School, over in Switzerland.
Okay.
And so that's 3 months of training and spiritual input. And then you have 2 months of outreach, and he went to Lebanon. So he loved it. The Lord really touched him in his life there.
That's awesome. You guys have been able to talk about that?
Oh, yeah. It was incredible.
That's cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. So is it like you're waking up at 5:30 every day kind of thing?
No, thank goodness. I wake up really with only just as much time as I need to get to school on time.
Someone else is doing the chickens and the animals.
Yeah,
in the
well,
morning?
we used to have chickens, and I did have to do that. But then they all died because of coyotes.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah. So I don't have that responsibility anymore, which I'm thankful for. But when I get home after school, definitely farm work is a
like you're milking
priority.
goats and stuff like that.
Yes.
That's a thing. Yeah. That's cool. That's awesome. So let's talk about this week a little bit. Like what's been the things that stood up to you?
I think just the Spirit moving has been so evident, and just the vulnerability that I've seen, and honesty. One big thing that we do is called beef talks, which is Joe's like special touch.
Oh yeah.
Has his little beef cup.
Well, let's explain it here. Tell us.
So what it is Mr. Hessman. I told him I would call him Joe on the podcast, but it's habit, so I'll call him Mr. Hessman from now on. The Lord really put on his heart about this beef, and kind of the whole point. And hop in, Mr. Hessman, if you can explain it better than I can, because I bet you can. Beef with other people and problems left untouched, beef rots if not dealt with. And so a big thing that I think our whole class is so thankful for is the opportunity, at least twice a day, just to talk, like times set out by faculty and staff and people and volunteers who are helping, just to sit and talk with people who we have beef with, and have problems with. And the vulnerability in that is really challenging.
Oh yeah, I'm sure.
But it is one of the most spiritually growing things that I've done so far on this trip, just to reach out and to talk to people, and just be brutally honest.
Now, tell me about the experience. Like at first, was it like hard? Has it gotten easier? Is it still hard to do? Like,
well, I like to think that I don't have any beef with people.
Okay, gotcha.
So if you don't have beef with people, you're not like an argumentative person, or even if you are, let's be honest, not everybody has like a number one beef that they think about. But you do open up and your mind starts to think of them, and the Lord touches out in your heart as you go on. But at first it's an opportunity just to get to know people who you don't know as well. So I talked to some people that I know that are in my class that I don't know that well. And that was just so spiritually benefiting, just talking to someone. And my favorite thing that we do at the end is that we pray with each other and for each other. which Mr. Hessman always points out is the most important part. And I completely agree. It's just so spiritually uplifting after that.
Yeah. Joe, how do you do with the beef talk?
Pretty good.
I thought
I
that
think
was
he's
very
pretty
good.
much spot on.
That's awesome. That's awesome. This can be for either one of you guys. I'm interested, like, if you're hoping for like one thing to take back to SCA, like from this trip, what would be the thing? Like, man, I just hope that this continues. What would it be?
You want to hop in here first, or should I talk?
I can. Something that I really just want to happen just for like our class in general and just me is that like I actually want it. Like I want to be focused on God. I want to be open to people like these beef talks that we have. Like it's, I don't know, like I kind of like little like sad that like I decided just to start doing these beef talks to just people until like now. Like now that I've done it and I'm like encouraged and just like confident that I can do it now and just like letting myself admit to other people that I'm wrong. Like I just want it just to stay in me and just like know that I can just go to anyone and just figure it out instead of just keeping it inside and just hurting me and not keeping me close to people and even God in general.
Yeah,
So,
that's a great way of saying it. I think that we all have that, right? It's like the thing that God tells us to do feels like the hard thing. So we push it to the side, but really to our own detriment.
Yeah.
And it's until we just say yes to God's plan, and then you do, and you're like, I should have done God's plan the whole time.
Yeah.
He actually knew what he was talking about. And then, that's wonderful. But then you also get to be in a position even for younger classmen, if they have issues, like, hey, why don't you go talk to this person? Like, I've done that, and it's not as bad as you think, because you find out there's a context of love there. It's like, no one's against you. We're for you. It's you get that, and it's like much easier to kind of keep that thing going. That's wonderful. What about you, Hunter?
I think something that the Lord has really put on my heart is a heart for underclassmen. I think so often you can have an experience with the Lord at a church camp or something, especially like a group of friends that you've gotten really close to, and it can stay with that group of friends. I know that I felt before like I've wanted to tap into that as I've seen leaders who have been so spiritually on fire for Christ. Like I want that. Like I want to be a part of that, but kind of felt pushed away in that. And so what I think I want really bad for our class is a legacy built.
Yeah, that's cool.
And to have something that it's not just like a bush on fire. I know you're thinking of Moses and the burning bush.
I am.
I did too, but I think it's so much better if it's a tree with roots. If it goes down and into the school. I've talked about this in some of my beef talks. I'm just sharing my heart with people that if you go to places like Notre Dame or the Colosseum or Westminster, like there's these carvings and paintings and places all over the world are so beautiful and so massive and incredible. They weren't built in one lifetime.
Yeah.
And I think God has something so much bigger planned for SCA than the class of 2024. I could care less if it's about us. I could care less what our class does. But if the next class steps up, man, and like does it, and of course, like I want to be that class that steps up.
Sure.
Like I want us to be on fire. That's not what I'm saying. Like at all.
Right.
I want us to set forth something that goes way past this year. That next year they hit the ground running. Yeah. With fire in their hearts, and something be better than we ever could be. Right. Just because the Lord has already talked and spoken to them, and they already have what we have here. So.
That's awesome. Hunter, I think that there's so much like biblical insight in that, like thinking about legacy. I mean, God was concerned about legacy from the beginning when he called Abraham, right? He's like, it's not just about you, it's about your children's children.
Absolutely.
And being concerned with that certainly has God's heart. Joe, I'm gonna let you finish this out here. I'd be interested just to, even as you're thinking about, like, I'm asking about takeaway. I know you probably have several things that you're thinking of, but just give us one here. Like one thing that you want them to kind of take away from a week like this.
Well, I think the hope and desire, like I said, as our board said, is to grow closer to God and closer to each other through service to other people. This week, one of the things that we're doing is we're reading the book of 1 John. So we read a chapter every day, and we actually read it in the morning, and then they are like, what's touching them? Then we read it again at night to say, okay, now what has stuck out to you? Yeah. And the thing that keeps coming back over and over, and as I hope that the students are hearing and grabbing a hold of, is that their change is only going to happen if they open their heart, right?
Yeah.
Revelation 3:20, here I am, I stand at the door and knock. If anyone hears my voice and opens the door, I will come in and eat with him. And that's the thing that we've been talking to our students is it's only, he'll be out there. Jesus is great and he's knocking and he's a respecter, but he's not going to barge his way in and knock the door down.
Right.
That our students have to be open and willing to open the door. And then the question is going to be, are they going to keep the door open for him or are they going to shut it?
Yeah.
And ultimately that's a choice that they have to make every day.
Right.
So it goes beyond this mission trip, but this is a great opportunity for them to learn that. And then also to see through what SLAM does, through the ministry and the Institute for God, what's going on there in a real way every day about loving people and caring for people.
Yeah.
Then when they open the door, let Jesus in, then it's going to change not only their life, but it's going to change our school, our underclassmen, but also our community by we're wanting to continue to pour that out.
Yeah.
And it's a big ask, but we serve a big God, and I know that it's very capable.
Yeah, and he meets with people that work in faith. I mean, that's the thing we see all over the Bible, right? It's like people step out in faith, and God's right there with them. So I love those like ambitions to be like, let's do something great for God, because here we are, and we serve a big God, and He wants us to work in faith. Amen. Hey, I'm so grateful for you guys for this podcast. We're going to do a part 2 here in a little bit with some of your other classmates, but you guys are so articulate. So I love that. Thanks for speaking. But yeah, God bless. I'll see you guys next time. Hope you guys have a good trip.
Thank you.